What's up, guys? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Intern Show. I'm Logan, joined by Justin and Ashton. This is going to be our Week 3 waiver wire video.
Alright guys, we're going to kick off this week with who to add from the waiver wire. So Ashton, who do you think's sitting on the waiver right now that definitely needs to be put on the team?
Yeah, I'm very happy to head this segment because I'm really big on Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones should be owned in 100% of leagues coming off of his 2-game suspension. He's currently owned in 45% of leagues. Really sure that number will jump after ESPN puts a projection next to his name. Aaron Jones is a big play threat every time he touches the ball. Yes, he is part of a 3-headed backfield committee, but his 5.5 yards per carry average leads me to fully believe this guy can get 10 to 15 touches a game and still hold substantial fantasy value. His backfield mates of Ty Montgomery and Jamal Lewis have left opportunity for Jones to step right into a lead role with their poor performance in 2 games. Williams, 45 yards rushing, Week 1 against Chicago, 59 yards rushing this Sunday against Minnesota. Then Montgomery, less than 30 all-purpose yards in Game 1, 40 all-purpose yards in Game 2. Williams is known for his pass blocking, and Montgomery is Green Bay's pass-catching specialist. However, neither of these backs hold all-around skill superior to what Jones showed us he can do last season. Unless your RB depth is already hindered by running backs with injuries or holdouts, talking to you, McKinnon, Mixon, Devontae Freeman, Bell owners, I wouldn't recommend locking Jones into your starting lineup in Week 3, but if Jones is available on your waiver wire, you will regret not rostering him when you had the chance. I'm a confident Aaron Jones owner in all of my leagues.
Yeah, dude, I'm pretty surprised Aaron Jones is still available in that many leagues.
So am I.
He's only on a 2-game suspension. He's coming back. He had a great year last year, so it's kind of surprising.
Yeah, kind of a good transition into my pick here. Guy I'm about to talk about only owned in 3% of leagues going into Week 3 here, and that is Jesse James. I think the Pittsburgh tight end has been showing great numbers over the last 2 weeks. This week, 6 catches, 138 yards and a touchdown. What more are you going to ask for from a tight end, honestly? Especially with what's going on in the league this year so far. Olsen, he's out for a few weeks. Walker, he's done for. If you need a tight end, or honestly, if you have a great tight end, you're just trying to stash someone for a bye week or trying to make a trade, I think he's a great pickup. Even in Week 1, he was a top 10 tight end. That's definitely going to jump, looking at the numbers he just put up against the Chiefs this week. Week 3, they're going to play the Bucs. The Bucs have already let up 61 points in the first 2 games. I know the Steelers are trying to come out and get their first win. That 0-1-1 record, it's atrocious.
That's tough.
You got to get that off.
That's tough for the Steelers.
I think he's going to come out, he's going to eat this week. Get him on your team.
That's a good pick. Yeah, I also really like Jesse James, and I'm going to stick with tight ends. I think Austin Hooper is a guy that a lot of people should be looking at, especially if you're a little farther back in the waiver wire and you think Jesse James is going to get grabbed up. Austin Hooper's a good guy to depend on. He's only owned in 17.5% of leagues. Week 1, he had 3 catches on 4 targets against the Eagles. Week 2, he had 5 catches on 5 targets and a touchdown. That touchdown helped him to 17 points, but even without it, he still had 11 with his 5 catches. And I think 11 points is pretty solid for any tight end in any league. Yeah, also a great pickup for the Olsen and Walker owners and the Falcons. With that tough injury to Freeman, he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be slinging down the field a little bit more with only Coleman in that backfield. So I think Hooper is a good grab.
Agree with that.
Yeah. To kind of bounce off that, I really think Mohamed Sanu's role now offense is on the decline.
Yeah, especially with the emergence of Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, finally got his first catch. I think it was for a touchdown, wasn't it?
Touchdown.
First catch for a touchdown. Mohamed Sanu, not great points. I know caught a bit of the game, and just watching him, his first play was like a run for -4 yards. So I think his role's just not there anymore.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think Sanu had 1 catch off 2 targets this past week. It's pretty rough.
Not a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not.
Bet. All right, Ashton, who do you think we should let go this week?
Yeah, my job for the week has to be John Ross, and if he's still on your roster, this job is long overdue. A lot of football analysts, both fantasy and real life, seem to think that just because you're fast as hell means you're good at football. Yes, my guy broke the 40 record at the combine, but besides the kid's straight line speed, he has a lot of work to do as a professional football receiver before he offers a ton of value to the Bengals or your fantasy team. Through 2 games this season, Ross has a Hall of Fame stat line of 2 catches, 11 yards, and a touchdown in Week 1 that probably led you to hold on to him into week 2. Definitely locked on John Ross as my drop this week. He's the 4th or maybe even 5th receiving option on a team whose focal point this season is to propel their offense through their hopefully franchise running back, and a passing offense that ranked 27th last season. I already gave you my ad for the week, but when you drop John Ross, pick up Cincinnati's true number 2, Tyler Boyd. He's the guy to have opposite A.J. Green. The Bengals know it, Andy Dalton knows it, and the numbers show it.
Yeah, honestly, big drop there. I think if it was fantasy track, he might have a chance.
Yeah, he might put up some points.
But since
4
we're
by 4?
all about fantasy football here, he needs to go, definitely. Following that up, someone that I made the mistake of drafting probably just for the big name this year, Jordy Nelson. I got him just sitting on the bench in multiple leagues, and he's just not doing it. A lot of guys on the waiver, I think, can surpass him in numbers each week. Just looking at the stats, it's kind of sad, honestly. First week, 3 receptions, 23 yards. This week, 2 receptions, 30 yards on 4 targets. Not great weeks, but when you look at what's going on that Raiders offense, Derek Carr, 29 for 32 this Sunday. 2 of his 3 incompletions were to Jordy. It's not looking good. Plus, they just brought back Martavius Bryant. So there's less to go around there, and honestly, it's just not going to Jordy. You got to get him off the team.
Especially with Cook having a career
Yeah,
year.
where did he
Cook
come
going
from?
off out of nowhere.
I don't know.
Pretty wild.
Derek,
I'm going to stick with a wide receiver for my drop of the week. It's my guy, Robbie Anderson. I was super high on this guy coming into the season. I drafted him pretty high in my league.
Took him from me, honestly.
I did.
Hey,
I was
you took a half.
I know, dude.
Not about
Hey,
Robbie
hey, I don't
Anderson.
want him. I don't want him.
You
I don't want him no
made a
more,
good
bro. I don't want
decision.
him. Week 1, only a 1 catch. It was a 41-yard touchdown, so his stat line didn't look too bad. But this next week, 3 catches for 5 yards. I don't even know how many points it was. It was not very many. He's coming off a Pro Bowl year. He had 63 catches on 113 targets. But my man Josh McCown's not throwing the ball anymore, unfortunately. Darnold just hasn't been looking his way, man. He's been targeted. He's been loving Quincy Enunwa.
Yeah.
7 catches on 11 targets against the Dolphins. 6 catches off 10 targets against the Lions. He's also been targeting Terrell Pryor again. He had a down year with Washington last year, but he seems like he's coming back. Pryor had 7 catches on 11 targets through 2 games, and the 2 of those guys have more than half the targets on the team. Also, I'm going to give you another ad for this week, a little bonus. Pryor's only owned in 2.7% of leagues, and I think he's the guy you should pick up when you drop Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and there's about 44% of leagues out there that we also have to tell to pick up Quincy Enunwa. If you've been living under a rock the first 2 weeks, I guess you haven't seen that this has been Sam Darnold's guy. Pick him up, start him.
I know he plays for the Jets, too, but he's been racking in the points. The Jets also have 2 pretty solid running backs, Powell and Crowell, and they've both been catching balls out of the backfield. And it's not even that Robbie Anderson's not on the field, dude. He's been on the field 15% more plays than Pryor, and he only has half as many catches. I love this guy, but I think Anderson is a drop, and you don't look back, just like your ex-coach.
This offense just wasn't made for him.
Yeah, hey, drop her, bro. All right, Ashton, who you got for your? Who are you holding on to? Who should they be holding on to this week?
Pump the brakes a little bit, but don't.
Yeah, if you're an owner of this guy, I'm gonna tell you not to panic, and that's Jamison Crowder. Don't make any rash decisions on this guy. I know you've probably been told your whole life not to trust strangers, but this is where I'm gonna have to tell you, just trust me on this, because his numbers really go against my claim, and his quarterback's performance has been real suspect through 2 games. But there are at least a couple positives on Crowder going forward this season. This last week, Crowder led Washington in rushing yards, which shows his versatility as a playmaker. He was also on the field for 93% of Washington's offensive snaps this week, which is a big increase from 62% the previous week. And I know that scared a few people. I'm still a believer that Alex Smith and Jamison Crowder, who were noted as having a flourishing connection in the preseason, will get their shit together. Hold on to him and look for him to post positive numbers against a favorable matchup with Green Bay in Week 3, a defense that let up 12 catches for 131 yards and a touchdown to Viking slot man Adam Thielen this last Sunday.
Well, good stuff. Someone I'm going to hold on to here, Jack Doyle. on the Colts. I know a lot of you guys are probably getting nervous there. Tight end's always kind of a weird spot because if you don't get one of the top 3 guys, you're kind of wondering who's going to be reliable throughout the season. He's kind of been an Ebron's shadow most of the first 2 games here. Ebron obviously taking a touchdown in each of the 2 games so far, but I'm gonna stay true to Jack and keep him on my roster. Definitely keep starting him. Week 1, he had the most red zone targets on the team, and he actually still has more receptions this year so far than Ebron does. So I think some of the stats might be skewed with those 2 touchdowns. Kind of a rough week with Jack, 2 catches for 20 yards, but I think he'll bounce back. Andrew Luck definitely, showing he's back, throwing the ball around. I think he's going to spread it around, but I think Jack's going to start getting more of that action throughout this year.
Yeah, dude, with that new Colts offense, they basically running the Eagles offense from last year, and they love those tight ends back in Philly last year. So I think Jack Doe is going to be solid.
He'll bounce back. He's coming back.
Oh man, that whole Colts offense needs a bouncer too. We'll talk about that in our next
video. Yeah, you got it.
All right, Logan. Who's sitting on people's teams right now that they're probably thinking about dropping, but they should hold on to?
My man, Kenny Stills, guys. Week 1, 4 catches on 5 targets, long touchdown, put up 27 points, huge week. Week 2, not so good. 2 catches on 3 targets, only put up 4 points. But I'm telling you guys to calm down a bit because no Miami receiver had more than 40 yards against the Jets this week. And so they did a good job locking him down for somehow. But I think there's just an anomaly. Plus, this coming week, Devontae Parker's coming back to the lineup. He's going to draw attention away from Stills. It's a big play threat on the outside. He's going to open the field up. Ryan Tannehill's going to dish it off. It's going to be a good time for Stills, guys. And also, coming up, the Dolphins play the Raiders this week. And I don't know if you guys have watched the Raiders' defense recently. Not very good.
They're missing something.
Yeah. Missing something, dude. I don't know what. I don't know what. Yeah. Rams tore them up week 1. Broncos played really solid against them. I think the Dolphins are going to have a field day on the Raiders, dude, and Kenny Stills is going to benefit from it. I think Kenny Stills is going to play solid for the rest of the year, put up 10, 15 points per game in PPR. If you're not playing PPR, sorry.
You're doing something
I don't
wrong.
know.
Doing something wrong.
Sorry,
Yeah,
we're
you
here
gotta
for 12 minutes and you got to this far.
do something different, dude. Yeah, Kenny Stills, hold on to that guy.
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially in deeper leagues, solid flex.
Please don't
Solid
stop.
flex.
Please don't drop Kenny Stills. Please do not.
And
Don't move him. Don't trade him. Wait on Kenny
And
Stills.
don't pick up Devontae Parker.
No matter what you do.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
No.
We appreciate you guys tuning in this week. Came to you today with our Week 3 waiver wire special. I think we gave you some good names to keep, some good names to add, some good names to drop. We'll get back to you with more information before it's time to lock in your lineups on Thursday. We'll bring you things like studs to start and players to sit on the bench depending on their matchup, the weather. We're also going to give you just a lot of other information that's going to help you win your league.
Definitely. And help us out, guys. Definitely subscribe, drop us a few likes, give us some comments. I know something we're going to try and do this week is we're obviously all in fantasy leagues. The 3 of us are in one league together, and what we're going to do, we're going to try this out. The 3 of us, whoever scores the least points between the 3 of us, whether we're playing each other or not, is going to be subject to some kind of punishment, let's say. And what we want you guys to do, leave comments. Let us know what we should do. I don't know, cinnamon challenge, stuff like that. Just something silly, something fun to kind of punish the loser. Obviously, none of us want to lose, but someone is going to end up in 3rd place in points each week.
It's not going to be me.
It's not going to be me for the 3rd week in a row, hopefully.
Yeah, 3rd week in a row, okay.
I'm 2-0, I just am not putting up as many points. But yeah, drop some ideas.
Yeah, you'll see that punishment in the next waiver wire video probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Hit that notification button, turn those on so you guys can catch our next video. And thanks for coming out, guys. We'll see y'all soon.